What's up? Sever the Bond from Nets Republic. Before this video starts, because we got a lot of things to discuss, I got a feeling this might be another 30 piece as far as the minute length, so really take a time to get comfortable, do some laundry in the background, whatever you need to do to get through this, because we're gonna be here for a minute. I can feel it. I can just feel it. But before we begin, let's start with the positive before we get into the negative and then back into the positive. And yes, we won, but we gotta talk. Let's start with, if you're interested in some good old merch, that good old Nets Republic merch. I know you're trying to dress like the kid. Come on now. You see me stunting on camera, you feel me? You see me just like dripping all over your screen like this? Come on now. Get the wax on, wax up, because all the drip on the, come on now. Come on now. Click the link in the description. Get you some of that good stuff, bruh. I got that good stuff for you, feel me? $18 shirt type stuff, you feel me? Go get you some of this Nets Republic merch. Come on now, link in the description. Now there's your positive. Here comes a negative. And this is a negative that we won't dwell on for the large duration of the video, but just something we have to address. Yes, Kyrie Irving played. Yes, we won a game. And that is definitely a huge thing for a Sever the Bond on camera video. This is an amazing win. I thought it was an amazing team win. I don't think it was solely Kyrie. It was a great team win. Kyrie was obviously a major proponent of it, contributor, if you will. But this was a great team win. And where the negative is we don't build off of that. Next game is against Toronto. Whether that's at home or in Canada, Kyrie legally cannot play those games. So it's like, while there's an exciting moment of this was a great game, we can't build off of that because he can't play in the next one. So it's like, as far as having our broad brush of looking at this game, this was a good singular game. But you can't build off of what happened tonight, because he can't play the next one. Now, if the mandate is lifted, that doesn't really cover the Canada part, but in general, he would be there for the game after that, if the mandate is lifted sometime soon, right? Again, that doesn't help the Canada part, but baby steps, I guess. So we cannot build off of this. So while we're going to talk about all the amazing things that happened in this game and why this was such a great team win, again, if this was just Kyrie was so incredible, that's why we won, then it's like, I can see how you can have future optimism on how it affects the team. Okay, Kyrie's out there, it's fine. Like with the idea of Kevin Durant. If Kevin Durant's out there, we're probably fine. Doesn't really matter if he has any chemistry with the team. He's KD. It'll be fine. Kyrie's not that type of player. This was a team win. Nothing against Kyrie and the amazing stuff, and I'm going to give him his flowers. I just want to make sure I make it clear that if it seems like there's a negative tint to my praise, it's because we don't build off of this. We go into the next game, and we're back at square one. The only thing we're adding is Dragic. So yeah, Patty Mills got rest last night, but it's like, we're back to square one tomorrow on Monday. And so that's the negative I want to just sprinkle out, and that's going to be the general tone of my praise. Everything was good in the moment. It's just this does not affect us in the long term. Unless the mandate is lifted in New York, and even if it is, again, we have games like tomorrow, where it's in Canada, where that man still can't play, but again, that's neither here nor there. Lord help us if we have a playoff series against the Raptors. I don't know what we're going to do, but that's not here nor there. So that's the negative. Let's just suspend all logic. Let's suspend all future plans and just live in the moment of last night's game. I feel like this might have hit better if I, caught this live, but let's just rewind back, hop in the Wayback Machine, and just focus in on last night's game and only last night's game. And I'm going to do my best job to focus on that. Just the game and not anything else. This is going to be difficult, but I'm going to try my hardest. So here we go. Okay, the game. Just the game, not what happens in the field. Just the game. The game itself was incredible. Back and forth affair for a good bit of the game. Basically the entire game, actually. And the fact that we were able to hold our own against basically a healthy Milwaukee Bucks, who are the NBA champions. Reigning, defending, undisputed, right? Right? Like we faced the defending champions, and basically they're 100% healthy outside of Lopez. But I mean, look at Bobby Portis, Jesus Christ. Like, the fact that we survived this and won is insane. The only thing we added was Dragic and Kyrie, and that was enough to, I mean, that is nuts. The type of team-wide effort it took, and I mean like effort. I'm throwing skill out the window. Effort it takes to beat Milwaukee at home with the type of crew that we had. You don't have Ben Simmons, you don't have Joe Harris, you don't have Kevin Durant. They went out there with the starting lineup of Kyrie Irving, Seth Curry, who else was out there? James Johnson, Bruce Brown, I think, was at 3. James Johnson at 4, and I believe Drummond started. So that's your starting 5. And what was interesting is we were going into this trying to figure out, like, okay, we know just Curry and Drummond is not enough to beat playoff teams. Maybe the trash can ones, but playoff teams, not enough to beat a playoff team. So what happens when you interject Kyrie? Kyrie has support around him. Is that enough? No. But then you factor in again that this is not just a playoff team. These are the defending champions. So now we're talking about a contender. Is Kyrie surrounded by really good role players, not just good ones, but really good role players that don't necessarily need a play called for them? Is that enough to beat a good team? Last night, the answer was yes. And again, it's not so much that Kyrie individually was so good that he was just surrounded with good talent and they won. Everyone came through. I want to start with Dragic. The second he came in the game, he hit a 3, which was nuts because it's his first game. Immediately hits a wide open 3 off of a pretty interesting pass. I think the assist was from Patty Mills or something like that. I'm not sure which. Playing Patty and Gordon at the same time was weird, but trying to dissect Steve Nash's rotation is just something I'm not trying to do right now. I'm trying to remain positive. But hits the first 3, incredible stuff. The man was playing great defense. The man is facilitating the ball in a beautiful way, I must say, pushing the pace, really, even down to his ball handling. The idea that you have Javon Carter on it, which, again, we could really spend time on this game for an hour, but I'm choosing to ignore it. But yes, Javon Carter and DeAndre Bembry played. I won't get into that because we don't have time, but insert jokes. But you've got Javon Carter playing full court defense on you, and instead of just kind of using crossovers and hezzies to get around him, Dragic starts dribbling in a circle while moving like forward. I don't know how do you dribble like that? Like that's hilarious. It was like he was like spinning the pro stick. He started dribbling in a circle, but he was still moving. It's like how Mr. Krabs, he kind of does this, but he's not going anywhere. Dragic was doing this, but actually moving. It was hilarious. Javon Carter didn't know what was going on. Very funny stuff, but you can see the impact immediately, even down to inbound plays and things of that nature, if you will. Steve Nash had an unnatural, disgusting level of confidence in that man to get the job done, but this is what he does. And when you have that type of relationship where, according to Dragic, Steve is running the same type of stuff that they ran in Phoenix, Does Mike D'Antoni not draw plays? Because I'm a little bit confused on that, but that's not here nor there. But anyway, you can see that the type of, like, I feel like Steve Nash could, like, say what he wanted, and it's like maybe it doesn't make sense to other people because it's not a legitimate play. It's just like an option. And I feel like Dragic just connects and knows what he's trying to do, and he's able to implement it. Whereas maybe a Kyrie and a Harden are looking at him like, bro, what are you talking about? That's not a play. But I feel like they have that type of like telekinetic like thing going on to where maybe we're going to be able to see some really interesting looks from the Nets as far as offense and defense, because we have someone that speaks Steve Nash's language. Because I am of the theory that Steve Nash is not aware of how to coach. I think he's still learning how to communicate things to the players. While we're on Nash, I'll just get this little negative out there just real quick. I am not sure what that man does. I'm aware that he's the coach, and I know that there were several times that he was getting upset and he was yelling and showing passion on the sideline. But in terms of coaching, I am not sure what that man does. There was a little ISO cam on the huddle several times last night where we're able to look and see what is being said in the huddle. You got Budenholzer on one side yelling out something like triangle ram action, just like random, Madden mumble jumble plays, right? Then you go over to Steve Nash, and Steve Nash is clapping and saying, good job, good effort, while Jacques Vaughn and the rest of the coaching staff are actually giving out instructions, to which Steve Nash would chime in every now and again and say, yeah, do that. And again, I'm not sure what Steve Nash does. There are even times where there'll be a timeout, and I'll give you a specific example. Steve Nash is screaming, don't foul. They inbound the ball. Seth Curry immediately fouls Chris Middleton. I'm not sure what Steve Nash does. And I think if you just want someone out there who's a good spirit, a good locker room leader, someone who can, really be a player's type coach, I think that's dope, and he should be like an assistant, like an employee relations type assistant. I don't think that's what a head coach only does. I know that's a part of it, but I don't know. I'm just not clear on what he does in terms of coaching. I get why he's out there. I get why he's important. You got times where LaMarcus Aldridge gets knocked down on his, you can count that. If LaMarcus Aldridge is playing, he's going to have an and one on a mid-range jumper. It's just clockwork. We know that. He's playing, he's going to get an and one on a jumper. You see Steve Nash come out and pick him up and stuff, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's great. That builds the vibe, if you will, right? That builds chemistry. But what does that have to do with coaching? That's not even there. Kyrie took a lot of shots last night, and it was necessary. It was needed. He had to take over. He was really our only go-to scoring option for a good bit of the game, and he came through with the foul shots, and that's great. He almost scored 40, and that is great. Kyrie played about as well as you can ask a star to play offensively, and I thought it was great. I do not think it was the reason why they won. I think it was part of it, definitely with the foul shots. He only missed one in that stretch. I think he had 8 looks at the foul shot and only missed once. But God, Kyrie's a god at free throw shooting. But I thought he played really, really well, seemed extremely composed. Not the most efficient, but when you're the only real scoring option out there, you want him to be aggressive. And definitely if the mandate gets lifted and he's able to be full-time, I really feel like he'll get back to being more efficient because he'll have more reps, he'll have more chances to actually be out there in a game like stretch. I don't think that makes sense, but you know what I'm trying to say. So I thought Kyrie played well. I thought Bruce Brown played really well, not only with the cutting, but on defense as well. Bruce Brown's not out there, we don't win the game. Not just because that man hit such a clutch shot. And I mean, after bricking three, after three, after three, after three, after three, after three, to still have the confidence to take that last one that arguably sealed the game. Shout out Bruce Brown. He's playing incredible. I mean, not shying away from the moment in the slightest. I know I'm talking in cliches, but I mean, if you look at the context of the game, Bobby Portis is going off, basically doing everything that we come to expect from Bruce Brown, and Bruce Brown just shakes it off and is like, "Nah, I'm nice like that too." And I just thought it was great. I really did think it was great. Shout out to Bruce Brown. I know there was a period of time this season where we were thinking, maybe he hit us with a head fake, but it's good to see that he is indeed earning his keep, which maybe that sounds wild, but again, you know what I'm trying to say. I thought Drummond played absolutely, God, Drummond played well. Now, much like with Kyrie, he had the quietest impact I think I've ever seen, just because everyone played so well collectively. It's not like there was one performance that it was like, oh, this was the Patty Mills game, this was the LaMarcus Aldridge game. Like, everyone played well. So it's like, I can't say one person went above and beyond because everyone played well. But if you look at his stat line, Drummond quietly had the game of the night. I mean, 13 rebounds or something like that, double-digit scoring, put Giannis in a body bag on a contested jump shot, on a contested dunk. I mean, playing really well and down there bullying with Giannis and Chris Middleton at times and Bobby Portis, and just getting slapped around out there, but just brushes it up, gets back up, and keeps playing hard. And we've really needed a force like that down low. I do think that there are times we can look for him a little bit more, but to Kyrie's credit, he did a good job of actually seeking Drummond out. Because really, if you have someone who's clearly trying to do some off-the-ball stuff, be that a Patty Mills or a Seth Curry or a Kyrie Irving or something like that, who's just flicking the jive out of the pro stick trying to get open, and you attract a double, I promise you Drummond is open, dump it down. And Kyrie seems to understand that. Patty Mills not so much, but Patty's not really a lead point guard. Hopefully Dragic will get more into that as time goes on. We obviously know Ben Simmons is going to know what to do with that, but that's not here or there. It was great to see Drummond get involved, play well, a lot of blocks too. I mean, he played a very, very good game. It was just, it felt silent to me because, again, it wasn't like he was the singular reason why we won. He's a part of it, but just not the singular reason. So I say quietly had the game of the night. If there's a Sever the Bond or a Nets Republic player of the game, I'd say it's probably Drummond, but he did it so quietly. It's like, God, and also somehow didn't foul out too. Shout out to him. I thought LaMarcus Aldridge played well for the time he was out there for. Didn't really do like a whole lot, but in terms of playing defense, getting back on defense and scoring when we needed him to, I thought he did a good job, played his role well. And again, you're going to get an and one jumper from him every single night. It's just guaranteed. Didn't look for him as much, but it didn't seem like that was the game plan, because last night, James Johnson was a featured part of the offense. And while it makes me uncomfortable to say that as well, I want to remind all of you who are talking recklessly about that man on Twitter, he has a neck tattoo. Maybe y'all are from an environment where that doesn't mean anything, but that man has a neck tattoo. Please keep that in mind while you're talking trash about that man, but that's neither here nor there. But I will critique him a tiny bit because, again, neck tattoo, no smoke for me. But while it's such a trying to think of the word, hit or miss affair with this man. It's like a Wiz Khalifa mixtape. Like, half of the songs are going to be really good, but the other half are just going to be the worst thing you've ever heard in your life. Like Juice WRLD, right? Half of the songs are the best song you've ever heard. Half of the songs are the worst. Like Lady Gaga. Half of the songs are the best songs you've ever heard. Half of the songs are the worst. That is what the James Johnson experience is like this year on the Brooklyn Nets. Half of the times you're like, wow, how did we get so lucky to get him? And then other times it's like, why is he on the court? So for every time that you feel like James Johnson is sabotaging the team with his play, he'll go and have the game-winning block. That's basically my sum up on that. There was a weird back and forth with Steve Nash, the bench, and James Johnson after the block on, I believe, Bobby Portis, that I wish I was watching the Yes Network broadcast and not the ABC one, because I want to get to the bottom of what was going on. I really want to get to the bottom of what was going on. I know Steve Nash was trying to call a timeout, and that's why he was upset, but then it looked like James Johnson was like ignoring his assignment and specifically sticking to Giannis, maybe against the wishes of Steve Nash, again, assuming he made that call because he's the coach. But then he successfully closes out in time and then is screaming at the bench, but the camera angle wasn't showing us was the bench screaming back positively. Was that in response to Steve Nash? Like, it was just a weird play, and I wish there was more clarity on it. Maybe I just missed it. I don't know. But that was a weird dynamic. But outside of that, I thought James Johnson played fine. We're asking him to do a lot of stuff. We're basically asking him to be standing Kevin Durant, and I think he is succeeding in that. The lows are very low, but the highs are, I think he's doing a good job. And I've been very critical of him in the past, but I thought last night he did a good job. Patty Mills looks exhausted. Thank God for Dragic. And it's nice to see the Dragic is playing, because that's what we got him for. So thank goodness they threw him out there. One of the things I like the absolute most about this game is I like the fact that we didn't see much of the rookies. Now, that is not on some I'm anti-future type stuff, but strictly from the standpoint of when we're trying to win a game, I think we are putting way too much on the kids. Because when it comes to playoff time, if we're out there trying to win a series and we're not relying on these veterans that we did so much to acquire, but have the necessary experience to win, which you saw tonight, with the exception of Drummond, every veteran out there has some form of success with winning. So it's like, why not use them? Why do we have Kessler Edwards out there and stuff like that? Not that he played bad, not that Duke Jr. plays bad, not that Day'Ron Sharpe plays bad, and not that Cam Thomas plays bad. It's just, what are we getting these veterans for if we're not going to let them play? Like, I felt that way about Paul Millsap. Like, if we're denying young talent to retain these people, right? If you're letting go of a DeAndre Bembry, right? I want to see basically James Johnson play, right? If you're denying these kids anyway, let these vets you have so much faith in play. Why not? Like, what's the point of them being on the team? I don't understand that. Especially in tough not playoff games, but possible playoff games like this, where it's like a statement victory to show the league, hey, we just need to get healthy, don't sleep on us type stuff. It's nice to see the vets are actually out there playing. One more veteran I'll throw out there, which, is he a veteran? I don't know, but Seth Curry. Seth Curry played very, very well, and it's not just the shooting, which he was finally consistently hitting the shot. Quiet as kept in the last 2 games. He's been a little trash, but that's not even there. But really coming through, nice complimentary piece next to Kyrie Irving or whoever the point guard of the week is going to be. I thought he did a great job, but I was most excited about everything he was doing on the defensive end. I don't think he gets enough credit for how active he is on defense. If it seems like this has been a longer video, it's because there were so many positives, because it was like a full team effort. They just willed themselves through hustle and good play to beat the Bucks. And it was a tight game. And it wasn't like it was a last-second thing where Kyrie pulled up for some insane game winner. And it's like, oh my God, we're nothing without Kyrie. Like, it wasn't even like that. The team played well. Kyrie played amazing, but the team played well alongside him. And I think that's really important. Dub is a dub. We'll take it. But then back to that negative side of it's a completely different team tomorrow. Because when Kyrie's not out there, and there's still no Kevin Durant, still no Ben Simmons, that is a completely different team. And it's hard to build off of a dub like this when you don't have certain pieces out there. Now, if KD came back, I think there's a way you can build off of that because of the defensive attention he's going to attract and obviously what he's capable of doing. But when there's no stars, it's just tough to build. So it's like in the moment of last night, positivity, bang your chest. But then after that, it's like, oh yeah, Kyrie can't play the next game. Kevin Durant's still hurt. Ben Simmons now has back issues. Like, it's rough. But we'll take the dub. One thing that I'm not super upset about, which I feel like a lot of people feel like I would be, I'm not mad that Blake Griffin didn't play. I thought everyone was playing well enough to where no one needed to be yanked out of the game for Blake Griffin to play. And there's just going to be some nights where not everyone's going to get a chance to play, especially if it's back and forth and super competitive and what we're doing is working. There are going to be nights where individuals won't play. There will be nights where LaMarcus Aldridge is probably not going to play. But maybe there'll be nights where Bruce Brown's not going to play, where Dragic isn't going to play. Like, there's going to be times where not everyone's going to get a chance. But that's okay. That's okay. So I'm happy for the dub. Enjoy the dub. Doesn't really address tomorrow, but, you know, in this moment, we can all be happy. And hooray for being happy in the moment. That is my coverage of that. Let me know your thoughts down below. Again, make sure you click the link in the description to go pick you up some extremely affordable Nets Republic merch. And I'll see y'all on Monday. Hopefully, we're able to beat Toronto. I'm not super afraid of Toronto. And with Dragic, maybe it's a revenge game type. I don't know. But we will see what happens then. And again, you know, Cam Thomas probably plays more without Kyrie out there. Maybe we get more Duke Jr. minutes. You know, who knows? So maybe it won't be the poop show I think it's going to be. But that's not here or there. Let me know your thoughts down below. 7-man, Nets Republic. Aye.